Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good in this fine day. My name is Zach. I am the founder of Haulstats, which is basically a tracking management system for small, mid-size, as well as large carriers who are, let's say, tired of running dispatch out of Excel files, spreadsheets, and all the headaches that comes from the phone on the day-to-day tasks. This platform is basically an all in one place where you have it. It actually fills all the gaps with its features. The live tracking of the drivers on your trucks, as well as the expenses that gets logged in and so on. So we can actually go through a walkthrough and you can see how it works and all the features that are existing in this one. So no further to say, let's just go to the dashboard, and this is how it looks. You will have an overview of the overall company as well as for each shipment. You can select the shipment and you can see what happened in that shipment as statistics. And then on the company overview, you can see the deliveries that were achieved, the active trucks you have, the drivers that are working, deliveries that are delayed, as well as the expenses, the fuel cost, and a tab where it says require attention, which is basically something that needs your attention that were filled in by the driver, like traffic, accidents, God forbid, or something like that. Of course, you will have the tab for maintenance and the payroll, and all that will be showcased in a beautiful graph. Sorry. So no further to say, let's just go how the flow works. First thing first, you will need to have a customer. You can fill in this data in here. If you don't want to, only fill the customer name, which is the most needed. Of course, you have his contact email, what terms of payment you have with him, as well as the default rate per kilometer or per mile based on what you actually can sit in here. If you want mile, you can select mile. So after selecting the customer, you can always do one thing, which is you can see in here those old one, they have outstanding balance that it needs to get paid. And in the meantime, what's good is that you can have a portal link, which basically, if you click on this one, it will generate a link that you can actually send to the customer, and it will basically says or mention all his shipment that you and him actually dealt with. And in here he can see all its status and if it's delayed, paid, and delivered, as well as the documents in here for the proof of delivery if you want to download it in here, and you can actually see it like this. So that's one part of it. And of course this link expires in 30 or valid until 17 of 8, which is basically after 1 day, after a month. And yeah, that's one part of it. And then after creating the customer, you can always create drivers and create trucks. And when you create drivers, it will automatically generate the email and the full name are obligatory to fill, because especially the email, that's his login. So after you generate or add a driver, it will show a password in here that you can actually send to the driver, so that way he can connect to the mobile app or to the web app, whatever works for him. And then he can actually have access to the platform and you can have direct communication with him. And also he can do all the things or all the work without the need of a phone to call you up or to chat with you while driving and so on. Make sure also to fill the license expiry and the medical expiry, so that way in future, if it's rearing its end to expire, it can automatically notify you, and then you can actually tell the driver or extend the license and so on. So those are some of the features. And of course you can add the trailers as well as, and the drivers, I'm sorry, you can also, when he open the app, he is always a pop-up shows for him and it asks him to share his location. So as long as he's working, he can always accept it, and then that will be your tracking for not the driver, of course, because you need his consent for sure. And after he confirmed the location, you can actually see where the shipment is and so on. Of course, you have the maintenance tab where you can create a work order for your truck. If you want to add trailers. If you have any, you can always add them, as well as the trucks. And I think the insurance expiry is necessary to fill, so that way it will also notify you when the insurance is about to expire. And the fuel is not that much needed because the trucks are always working, and I hope they are always working, so that way there is traffic for you for sure. This ELD tracking is a different thing. So if you have Samsara or Motive, you can always get the API token and insert it in here, and the tracking will happen in another way, which is basically it will just retrieve the data from the ELD and showcase it for you, and that includes the fuel, the GPS, as well as the what is it, the fuel, GPS. Those are the most important things, I believe. Same goes for the Motive API token. If you have it, you can always put it in here, and it gets validated, and it will show you the live status of your trucks. Okay, and those are the trucks in here. You can always set them for scheduled maintenance and fuel logs and so on. Now, after having all this data in here, you can go to quotation or to quote, and you can select a customer. What was our customer? I cannot recall it, but in this case it was Mr. Chris Brown. So we can go to the quotes, and we select Chris Brown, and we give him a pickup address. Let's just do this one in here, and then this one in the delivery, and let's just say a river maybe, and then let's hit him with 12k, and then the quotation will expire today because I just had a talk with Mr. Chris Brown. And then I click accept. It's a draft, it's not gonna do anything, it's just in there if in case he goes back on his words. But Mr. Chris is a nice guy, and then we're gonna send it and then accept it because he's a nice guy, as I said. Then once you accept it, it will automatically create a shipment with an ID for it and so on. This is the shipment. It shows all the status for it. Of course, you can delete it, you can log an expense, you can mark an issue in it, which is, if you want to do it, you can, but in this case, or in this scenario, we wish that the driver actually do it. So inspection as well, and documentation, you can see it here, and we will see it later. Now we have the shipment in here, so we need to assign it to someone. We go to the shipment itself, and we put it on assigned state, and then we give it to Mr. Wayne, yeah, and then we give him this track 777, no trailer assigned, as it's a reefer. And then if you want to put weights, and then the deadline for the delivery, let's just put tomorrow, and then we can put it on unpaid because we still didn't do anything, and then we save changes. Now this is assigned to driver Mr. Wayne. Now if we go to Mr. Wayne platform, or I already logged as Mr. Wayne, first thing you can notice this new assignment, which is 20, and this is the address it's assigned to us, to me. Then on here, I'm just gonna go to the default page. I can always click on my assignments, and then I am off duty. I'm just gonna say on duty, not driving, for a few minutes, and then I will check in here. This is the shipment that was just assigned to me. It's still in assigned state. I can switch again to driving if I want to, and then I can chat with dispatch maybe and say hi, and then automatically on here I can go to the chat, and also the notification is in there, and it says hi, and we can have live discussion if he needs anything. And yeah, from there we can go, sorry, and then from there the chat is in here, sorry. From there he can actually start the trip, or maybe before that he can log the fuel, or maybe something else, expenses. Let's just say parking, and then we go like this and log an expense. And then again we can do a report in an issue, and we go for accident, and we put it as high, and we say tire exploded, God forbid. And then we go back, and then inspection, we can always put this as 99. If you have a photo to select, you can always select. But one thing, since the drivers are going to be using their phone most usually, this will bring up their camera live and they can take a picture of it actually. And then we can submit this one in here. And then we can always start trip. Of course, we can go back to our main board or admin board or dispatcher board, and you can see, oh look, accident reported, as well as Wayne logged a parking expense, and then the message. And it's also seeing that Wayne is now driving. Now we go to the shipment, and actually we go to the require attention, because in here we can see that, where is it? It's this one that Mr. Wayne just reported, and we just acknowledge it. We can create a work order for it if we need it. And then also in the meantime, if we go to the driver balance, we can see that something is awaiting our confirmation here, which is basically the parking ticket that was filled by Mr. Wayne, and then we can confirm it. That's it, we confirmed it. It will show up for him as confirmed as well. And then we rest assured, and we wait for we can monitor on the live map and follow up the trail for Mr. Wayne. And what else is in here? Map, he can always open it in here, and also open it, navigate, and it will open up for him, not in the mobile app. He can see also his expenses that he logged, as well as his earning. Going back to the live dashboard, we can always focus on this. For instance, if we go to documents, there is no documents yet. And then we can go to the inspection. We have the inspection that was done by Mr. Wayne. The issues, it will also show us that the one that we acknowledged, and as well as the expenses that we actually confirmed. And he can always attach a receipt, or we can do it so on. Then we can actually change the status of this. It's in transit as long as the driver started the delivery. We're not gonna put it on delivered, as we're gonna wait for that to be done from the driver side. Going back to the reporting, you can see here all the kind of reporting you need, and you can customize it. In the meantime, in here you can see the invoices, and in here you can see or create another dispatcher account. Settings, you can switch the miles if you are using miles instead of kilometers, and you can also switch the currency if needed. I'm trying to find out if I forgot attention. And then you have also the chat. If you wanted to create a group for all the drivers, you can always do that, but you can chat with everyone distinctively if needed. And yeah, that should consume all about it. The driver balance, you can always log in for Wayne, drive cash advance, and then 200, and he will also need to confirm it from his end. In here he can see it as pending, and then he can always confirm it that he received it or he's acknowledged it in somehow. Of course, now we can go back to the driver account again, and let's go to that assignment here. As Mr. Chris is very fast, so he already completed the delivery, and he can always complete the delivery. And he puts here the customer name, which was Chris actually, where Wayne is the driver. And then we can have Mr. Chris sign this through his phone or some other form, and then he can always take a photo live, or actually choose a photo, and then he completes delivery, or he marks it as completed, and that's it. He can go back to not on duty and not driving. And in the meantime, if you go to dispatch tab, you can see that it was already marked as delivered. So in here, what we can do is that we can go to documents, and we can have the signature in here. We can actually download it and see how it looks. It just looks like glasses, but what we have in here is the proof of delivery. So if we download it, it will look like this with the signature. And if there was any pictures that were attached, it will also shown in here alongside the proof of delivery, as well as for the pickup and delivery, as well as the receiver. In that case, that was Chris. You can also generate an invoice, which will look more or less like this. If I download it, it will look like this, and it will show the status as long as it's unpaid in the dispatch scene. And since this is invoiced now, we can go in here and click on edit and put invoiced, and then that would be it. And let's go again to this tab in here. We can switch it to board instead of table. We can go that it's delivered. Let's mark it as paid. And 1 second, let's generate a delivery note, which shouldn't be that much, more or less the same, with the driver as well as the needed info in there. One thing that we need is that to mark this as paid, and we go in here and we just mark it as paid, and that will be it. The delivery will be completed. And of course you can go back again to the customer, in this case Brown, and share a link with him, and he can see his delivery in here alongside the signatures and all the PDF that were generated in the process. And that would be the sum of it. Please feel free to sign up. If I would really appreciate it to actually get your help if there are any missing fields that were missed in this assembly of features. But in all cases, please, thank you for watching, and please let me know if anything is needed in the comment. Thank you so much.